I saw this dresser on Facebook Marketplace and I knew I could bring it back to life. So I brought it home, set it on some cardboard, and it's time to get to work. First step, take out the top 3 drawers. I don't need those. I want an open space concept, but I'm going to keep the bottom 2, but then I need to remove the hardware from the 3 drawers and get that cleaned up for shelves. I also want to save the handles. Instead of buying new handles, why don't I just refinish those also? I'm going to take them off, even if I'm not going to use them all, and I'm going to paint them. First step though is to get them on a piece of cardboard so I can spray them, and also it's best to use 2 to 3 small coats instead of 1 thick one because then it won't run. Next, after that's drying, it's time to clean up the drawers and the cabinet itself, and I need to put on some primer. This is important. Primer gives the paint something to adhere to. That way the paint doesn't peel off later. I'm going to take the drawers, put on a nice coat of paint with a foam roller, and then I'm also going to do it to the cabinet itself, on the inside and the outside. While that's drying, it's time to build the 3 shelves that I need. So I had some scrap plywood hanging around the house, and I cut those up. The plywood's a little thick for my taste, but it's going to work great. Once I get the shelves installed, then I'm going to go ahead and paint the cabinet itself and use a nice white cabinet paint. 2 or 3 coats will do the job. But when it comes to the drawer, I'm going to use a gray cabinet paint. I want it to stand out and give it a two-tone a little bit. So I'm going to get that painted also. This one only took 2 coats. Now here's the key to this whole project. I'm going to build some new doors for the cabinet itself. Using a 1x3, I'm going to cut those to pieces right there, make 2 of them, and put them together. I'm also going to mark where I'm going to join the pieces. I'm going to use my nifty Craig jig. I love this tool. It's great. I can drill it, and it's going to give me some hidden screws when I use it. Watch this. After it's drilled, that's where the screws go. Gives it a nice professional look. I'm going to put some glue on the edges, put those together, and I can either clamp them, but watch this. When I put them together, put some screws in there, and then I join them together with those screws. You can also stick some wood dowels in there to hide the pieces. Now these drawers are also going to get the gray paint. So I'm going to get those painted. Once they're dry, on the back side of these doors, I'm going to put some chicken wire. I'm going to use my pneumatic stapler to put them together. Once I do that, I can put it all the way around, and it's going to look really good, but we want to make sure that it is secured. I'm going to go all the way around the edges and make sure it's nice and tight. Now I'm going to take the handle that I painted and I'm going to install that right there. And it's starting to look really good. The same for the drawers. Doesn't that look a lot better how it's all painted? I'm going to get this installed, make sure it's nice and tight, and then I got to put the hinges on the doors. These are just small 1.5-inch size hinges. They're working perfect. Put those in. Take the cabinet inside, and then I'm going to install the doors straight on there. Do you remember what that cabinet used to look like? Well, here it is, and look at that cotton bale. I love that little decor right there. It's great to turn this into a farmhouse kitchen pantry. I love how it turned out, especially with the white and the gray. I hope this inspired you to upcycle your own furniture whenever you get a chance, or take those marketplace flips and make them into a work of art. Thanks for watching Home Talk.
If you are in the market for a couple of side tables or nightstands, consider an old vintage vanity instead. First up, I need to take it apart. I'm removing all the drawers, then studying how the vanity is built. Since this vanity is nailed together, I'm wedging a pry bar between the backboard and vanity, then hitting it with a rubber mallet to pull the boards apart. Now I'm checking where all the nails and joins are and removing whatever nails I can with a nail remover tool. However, for the most part, the crowbars, lots of pounding, and finally pulling apart the pieces by hand did the trick. Now I'm removing all the knobs from the drawers and attaching the original screws into the back so they don't get lost. I'm placing all the drawers onto some butcher paper with the varnished sides facing up along with the vanity. To strip off the varnish, I'm using a product called QCS by Stripwell, which is a non-toxic remover. I'm spraying the remover on all the varnished tops of the vanity and drawer tops, then allowing the product to sit for about 10 minutes. Using a putty knife, I'm scraping off the varnish. Most of the pieces needed 2 passes for everything. Now using a surface cleanser, I'm spraying it wherever the varnish was removed, then wiping the furniture clean with a rag. Next up is repairing the sides. Using an orbital sander, I'm sanding over the damaged areas of the nightstands, plus also scuff sanding the rest of the sides to prepare them for the next step. I'm using a putty knife to apply wood filler to smooth out any indents, nooks, and crannies. Some of the holes were very deep, so they required 2 coats with drying time in between. After several days of drying time, I'm sanding the putty smooth, then following up with an orbital sander to areas that needed a little extra work. Now I'm removing all the sanding dust using a tack cloth. Choosing a deep and beautiful paint color called Cast Iron by Fusion Mineral Paint, I'm painting all the small trim work with a smaller artist's brush. Since the sides are smooth and large, I'm choosing to paint them using a high-quality Stahlmeister velour roller I pick up through Fusion Mineral Paint to achieve a flawless finish with no brush strokes. I'm rolling on the paint with long, even strokes with an attempt to always work against a wet paint edge. What works best is to roll on all the paint, then slowly roll over it again from end to end with no stops in between to achieve the smoothest finish possible. To paint the drawer pulls, I'm using the screws to hold the knobs while I paint, then setting them down on egg cartons to dry. Now that the paint has set, I'm removing the painter's tape to allow the piece to completely dry. To protect the fronts of the drawers and the tops of the nightstands, I'm using Stain and Finishing Oil in Natural by Fusion Mineral Paint. This is a very easy wipe-on, wipe-off product to work with, and the durability it offers is floor quality. I'm brushing on the Stain and Finishing Oil until my chosen surface is completely covered, allowing it to sit for a few minutes, then wiping the product back off again with a clean lint-free rag. I allow this product to dry overnight. Once the paint has cured for about 30 days, I'll also be adding a coat of natural Stain and Finishing Oil on that as well for added furniture durability. And the final result are two absolutely stunning high-quality nightstands or side tables that are customized to suit my home. The tone of wood now looks so fresh and rich and feels as smooth as silk, which really pops against the decadent deep tone of cast iron, making this a gorgeous and timeless combination. Thanks for watching Home Talk, and we'll see you next time.
I wrapped an iron in tinfoil for this brilliant furniture hack. I grabbed a side table from the thrift store and took it apart. I sanded it, wiped it clean, primed and painted. I painted 2 coats and then sanded and wiped clean between each coat. I added a clear top finish and then I put it all back together. I wrapped my iron in tinfoil to keep it clean and then I turned it on. Once it was heated, I ironed wood edge banding to the edges. I left a bit overhanging on either side and then I trimmed it with scissors. When all the edges were complete, I gently sanded the top edge and filed the corners to ensure a smooth finish. The tinfoil protected the iron from getting any of the edge banding adhesive and kept it clean. Now I have the most beautiful nightstand with a professional finish on all edges. I hope this inspires you to refinish your furniture with this easy technique. Thanks for watching Home Talk and see you next time.